leaving this place. The sun's about to break. You're riding shotgun. The feeling we chase. I'm wide awake. Take me away now. 'Cause I won't go down the same old path again now. No, I've been running out of air, so let me catch my breath. Feeling I've got's making me crazy. If I'm having a good time, don't you blame me. Yeah, this feeling I've got's making me crazy. Making me crazy. So I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive. Drive. Leaving this place, the sun's about to break. You're riding shotgun. The feeling we chase. I'm wide awake. Take me away now. 'Cause I won't go down the same old path again now. No, I've been running out of air, so let me catch my breath. Feeling I've got's making me crazy. If I'm having a good time, don't you blame me. Yeah, this feeling I've got's making me crazy. Making me crazy. So I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive.
When people ask what makes Morris Bank the success that it is, without hesitation, without a pause in my response, I always say, Code Blue. It's our secret sauce. It provides a roadmap for success for each and every team member. And when we're all working towards the goal of being Code Blue folks, we're going to be successful.
Morris Bank is proud to serve our Houston County community with our Code Blue culture each and every day. We're especially proud to support the efforts of the Robbins Regional Chamber and are thrilled for the award winners being named today. These recipients have poured so much into this community, and we at Morris Bank strive to leave a positive impact in the way these award recipients have. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to serve this community and to be your bank of choice in Houston County.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot believe that today is our fourth and final installment of Emerge 2021. Welcome back. I'm April Bragg with the Robbins Regional Chamber, your host for today's program and this final session sponsored by Morris Bank. Spence, Ben, thank you so much. We appreciate your commitment to our community and Morris's legacy of service. We appreciate and thank you for your sponsorship of today's session and our award winners. So while this has certainly been different than what we are used to with our Pinnacle Awards, I cannot tell you how much we have enjoyed savoring each and every moment these past 4 weeks, spending time with our annual award winners, sharing their successes and struggles, and learning from their inspirational journeys. This morning, of course, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching, please let us know that you're here in the comments and make sure you show our guest some love today. And before I forget, I just have to give a quick shout out to Ara Lee for filling in the anchor seat last week, and to Tiffany Harris, our brand manager, for the magic she works behind the scenes to make sure that these productions come off flawlessly. So when you see these ladies, or if you want to drop a comment, please let them know that we see the tremendous difference in the impact that they make on our chamber and our community. So our award series is sponsored by our longtime supporter of our annual awards, Cox Communication. And as always, this program is being recorded, so you can come right back here where you're watching and view later. And we will make clips available from our individual interviews a little bit later today for you to rewatch and share. So last week, we announced our program for this week, including our award winners. We are delighted to host our 2020 Charlie L. Jones Lifetime Memorial Achievement Award honoree and our 2020 Business of the Year today. So first up, we will recognize the recipient of the Charlie L. Jones Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is presented to an individual whose service spans a significant number of years and involves a combination of business, civic, governmental, cultural, and religious activities. This is the highest individual honor that the Robbins Regional Chamber presents each year. Outstanding community members like Osegan, Cowart, Callahan, Greenway, Towton, Watson, Wiggins, and many more have received this prestigious honor over the past 50 years, and it is truly an honor to once again announce the 2020 recipient of the Charlie L. Jones Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. George Slappey. George was nominated by our former chamber board chairman and longtime business leader in our community, Steve Williams. And I have asked Steve to join us this morning to share a few minutes talking about his nomination and why it was so important to him that we recognize George with this honor. So Steve, good morning.
Great morning, April. Great morning. Good to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So listen, I know that you have worked with George a number of times professionally in your career. You have also partnered with him on a number of different civic organizations and community service projects. Tell us really what it is in your own words about your lifelong friendship at this point, at least professionally, with George, and why it was so important for you to nominate him for this well-deserved honor.
Well, April, I'll tell you, when you guys sent out that email about nominating someone, he was the first person that came to mind. And I watched for many years, many deserving, distinguished people in our community receive this award. And I said, George Slappey deserves this award. He has been a friend of mine for over 20 plus years here in wonderful Robbins. In fact, we worked at the same bank back in 1987, 88. I was in Macon. He was here in Warner Robbins. And
Okay.
it's been phenomenal. Our relationship has continued to grow all these years.
That's amazing. And like you said, y'all work for the same bank. So tell us a little bit about, I know, in talking to you personally, you talked about how George has been such a mentor, not only to you, but others in the banking industry and in our community. Can you share a little bit about your experience there?
Oh, absolutely. Coming from Macon, Georgia, where I grew up, and then moving here, getting married, and trying to find work in this area. I was working with a bank down in Albany, Georgia at the time, and I ran into George at the local Walmart, and he was telling me about a position here in Warner Robbins that he had and wanted me to sit down and talk with him. We had that interview, and I knew right then that he was the type of person that I wanted to work with, and he had the leadership qualities, the character, integrity, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go all out. And one of the defining moments for me in working with George was one day I was working. This is early in my career with him, and I'm still at the working late, past hours. The bank was closed, and George drives by, and he calls me from his truck and says, "Steve Williams, go home to your family. The bank will be here tomorrow." And that was a defining moment for me. I realized then I had found a friend who really cared not only about me working at the bank, but also my family. And if you look at George's history and serving on boards in this community, on councils, he has been a giver his entire life.
He sure has. And I think you actually set us up really quick for our next segment, Steve. So thank you so much for being with us. And I know that all of you watching can't wait to hear from George himself about his career here and learn more about the impact that he's had on the community. We had the opportunity to surprise George just a week or so ago with his award at the bank. So let's take a look at that. Hey guys, it's April. I am here today at Morris Bank to surprise the recipient of the 2020 Charlie L. Jones Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award. George Slappey is no stranger to banking in our community. In fact, his career spans more than 40 years serving as a leader in the banking industry here in Houston County in Middle Georgia. He also has a tremendous history of involvement in community organizations, foundations, and civic groups in the area. Let's go surprise George and let him know he's won the award this year.
I gotta let you know, we've got a great crowd gathered to recognize George this morning. He has no idea. He's just here for a regular bank meeting. Check out all these happy, smiling faces here to help us congratulate him on this well-deserved recognition.
Hey, George, we are so glad to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you, April. It's good to be here and really honored. I want to thank the chamber. I want to thank Steve, but
absolutely. Well, I have a quick question for you. So first of all, what were you thinking when you walked down those stairs and realized that everybody in the bank was looking at you?
I was thinking that I was coming to see one of our very deserving employees receive Employee of the Month. I just, in a few minutes, I said, I just can't believe Steve Williams lied to me. But kept it a great surprise, and I'm truly honored. And like I said, I just want to thank the chamber and everyone involved and Steve, and thank this wonderful community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know so many are excited to kind of hear your story and learn from you. So let's start from the beginning. How and when did you arrive in Houston County?
I arrived in Houston County in March 1972. I went to work in First National Bank of Houston County, which subsequently became Georgia Bank Shares, Bank South, Nations Bank, Bank of America. And so that was how I came to work here. And actually, I was at, Nancy and I were married in 1969. I was going to Macon Junior College at that time for my first 2 years of school, and was befriended by Jack Ragland, who was the comptroller of the school, but also my accounting teacher. And he knew that when I graduated there, I was looking to go to work full-time somewhere and go to school at night at the Residence Center, which is where I finished my college education.
Okay.
And he sent me down to Perry to see Jimmy Stubbs, who was the president of the bank in Perry, a huge $6 million bank. That was very, very small, but that's
Perspective, right?
That's how I got to Houston County.
Okay, that's amazing. So now that we know how you got here, what kept you here? I know Houston County has been a magnet for so many people that, you know, come here either eagerly or sometimes unwillingly and never leave, or many that are taken away from here for, you know, work or, you know, an assignment with the military or whatever, but seem to have some kind of boomerang effect where they come back. So what was it that really kept you here in the area?
Well, if I had to sum it up, I would just say that you can't find a better place to worship, to live, to raise a family, to work. And that's what has kept me in Houston County, you know, for all these years.
Yep. I love that. So you talked a little bit about how you got into banking. I know in professions, you know, across the gamut, none of us get where we are in life without those incredible influencers along the way. So, you know, in your career, who have been the mentors for you along the way?
Well, I mentioned Jimmy Stubbs. Mr. Stubbs is in his 90s, still lives down close to Houston Lake Country Club. Just a huge mentor for me, and just left me with a lot of truisms. Now, he had me to do every single job in that little bank, from being a bookkeeper to a teller to calculating interest on savings accounts. You know, it was just an amazing training program. It was the first one they had. And but I would have to mention him. And one of my favorite things that he told me that has stuck with me is that no individual can create any wealth, no matter how much money they make, until they learn to live on less money than they make.
Yep.
I probably didn't get the quote exactly right, but it's very true.
Absolutely.
Others along the way, I have worked with some great bankers in community banks and in the big banks, and have tried to learn as much as I could all the way along the way. But Spence Mullis, who just was the voice in the commercial a while ago, along with Ben, I'm going to tell you, Spence is a mentor to me because of how he has incorporated this code blue, as he mentioned in there, this very simple code of behavior or ethics that starts with the golden rule and integrity, and just builds from there. But it permeates this company, and it's because of Spence. But I won't name all the others in between because there are just too many. But
sure. Well, and it's just proof, George, that no matter where you are in your career or in life, there is inspiration all around us and people to learn from. You know, so many times I think people think they're mentors. You know, they're older and wiser, right? But so many times, you know, I've found inspiration from my kids, from coworkers in many unexpected places. But they really do. It's those life lessons that are shared that really impact the people and the leaders that we become in our own lives. And I know in addition to your banking career, you have a very long history of meaningful civic engagement. I know you share a lot of that with your wife, Nancy, and your family. Can you share with us about some of the organizations that you've been a part of along the way, and maybe any significant memories or milestones you can recall in your civic career?
Well, just a few. I'll just jump to
Nancy, who's always been my greatest supporter. She involved me in the election process this past year. Now that was interesting in a presidential election, but since she retired from teaching back in 2010, she's worked in the election process, and it was a very busy election. They needed a lot of help, and involved me in that. That's the most recent, and you do get a paycheck, but it is a community service. And let me think of some others. My church, First Baptist Church of Centerville, we've been there since 1974. Served on most of the ministry teams or committees over all these years, taught Sunday school for a little while. But usually they get the bankers involved in finance and sometimes personnel, things of that nature. But that is near and dear to me. Centerville Lions Club, which I think I am the oldest serving member in the Centerville Lions Club now. But I've been in over 40 years, and it's a small club, great folks. We do site conservation work. We provide eyeglasses, eye exams for a lot of school children on referrals from the Board of Education, for a lot of seniors. Those usually are the ones that we tend to need the help, and the ones that we do. One other thing that some of you will remember, I'm sure, Cheryl Stafford. Cheryl Stafford was our first full-time county commission chairman in Houston County, dear friend to me. And he asked me to serve on the Middle Georgia Regional Commission Board, which is an organization, it's in Macon. It serves the counties and the municipal governments of the 11 county Middle Georgia region, with services for grants, or handling funds, for working on personnel policies. I mean, the gamut of services they provide is significant, and I have enjoyed that work. And additional county commissioners have come along right through Tommy now have asked me to continue to serve on that board, and I've enjoyed that thoroughly. My chamber work, of course, is several things over the years. Currently, the Robbins Regional Education Foundation is the board that I serve on there. And I don't know, whatever else I can do, I'm willing to do.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the willingness, George, I think is what's so important, and, something that I hope doesn't get lost in future generations. Our communities are the way they are, not just because of, businesses, because there are so many nonprofit organizations and governmental partnerships that help meet the needs, but they have to have citizen involvement in order to meet needs in our communities. And so I think, just the demonstrated willingness that you have there should be inspirational for all of those watching to identify those things that you're passionate about, or the areas that you've got where you can serve, and to just put those talents to good use beyond what you're using in your career. So Steve alluded to this earlier in his closing remarks about going back home to his family, and you've already mentioned Nancy. Anybody who knows you knows how much your wife Nancy, your kids and grandchildren mean to you. What is the role of your family played in your career, and what advice might you have for someone maybe earlier in their career about juggling those priorities?
The impact that my family has had is huge. And as I mentioned, Nancy's always just been a tremendous support in anything that I have ever needed. We raised two wonderful boys here, one that graduated from Northside and another from Houston County High School. One lives in South Bibb County now, but that's Matt. Stewart lives in Perry. And got 7 wonderful grandchildren, age 11 at the bottom to age 25 at the top. They're all unique and different and all wonderful. And we
and another full-time job, I'm sure, just keeping up with them.
Yeah. It is from here to there, to this ball game, to this cheer competition, to this, but we have hit more than one place on a single night, trying to see them all.
Of course you have. So I know, I've been here at the Chamber about 6.5 years and had the pleasure of working with you when you were the market president for another bank in our community. And I remember us talking through, your transition to retirement. And then some months, maybe a year or so later, you were called back into the field to open the first Morris Bank here in Houston County. How did they convince you to come out of retirement? Because when you and I talked, you were ready. You had a plan to we're going to hang up that hat. What did they incentivize you to come back?
Well, paycheck for one thing. but for the 18 months that I was retired, Nancy and I, we took a couple of trips. We went to the beach a little more often. We really enjoyed that time. But literally, I felt like a lamp that was unplugged. Just the loss of contact and involvement.
Yep.
And to a certain extent, and so that made me sort of primed for the call. And then my good friend Thad Childs, who's with Morris Bank in Jones County, called me, and if you knew Thad, you would appreciate this. He'd say, "Boy, I know you're not through yet." And so he sent me to see Spence, and from the first meeting that I went to with Spence in that Dublin office, I knew I was coming back, and that's been 5 years ago. We started here. Zach and I that also had worked at State Bank with me, with 5 ladies that were here when we acquired this branch, and that was October 1, 2015. Now there are 3 locations for Morris Bank in Houston County.
Yeah.
And there are about 30 people that come to work every day, which is awesome. And that speaks for this county and the health of the business community here.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, it's been a tremendous journey to watch. So if you will, share with us a little bit about what you're currently doing and maybe what's on the horizon for George Slappey.
Well, I would change the footnote, that says retired Morris Bank to semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
Yeah, I'm generally in the office. I try to be every Monday and Tuesday. Some weeks it might be Tuesday and a half a day Wednesday, but it just kind of moves around. But there's a few things that I can continue to do to help the bank grow and prosper. And they did move me upstairs in this penthouse, here on the 2nd floor. But I thoroughly enjoy being involved with this great group of bankers that we have at Morris Bank. Well,
we're glad you're still in the field, George, and glad you're still working. And I know you mentioned in your civic work that you of course have been a longtime supporter of the Chamber. You currently serve on our Robbins Regional Education Foundation. Why do you think it's so important for businesses to support the efforts of the Chamber?
I think first of all, the opportunities that it has for you and for your employees that can get involved to develop leadership and development. And it is a great gathering of like minds as it comes to business issues and learning about what's going on. Take the pandemic and PPP loan program and all those things that you did to help communicate that to the small businesses in this area when information was just coming from anywhere. It was good, clear source, and that has worked well. And just the fact that you have those like-minded people together when there is an issue that affects business in general, those people putting their minds together and uniting can make a whole lot better impact than any single one of us could ever do individually.
Absolutely. And George, I don't think I could have written a better commercial for what the Chamber is. I mean, because it really is that collective of like-minded individuals working together for the greater good of our entire community so that we can have that big impact. And of course, the pandemic challenged the way that we gather and convene, but it has been so remarkable, as we're coming out of this, just to see the willingness to continue to engage however it looks. I mean, we're we're on a video conference call right now, George, that is streaming live, wherever, to the ends of the earth, wherever people are willing to watch us. And we never would have thought we'd be doing this, 12 months ago. But it's been amazing just to see the number of people watching live each and every week, so that we can continue to feel connected, because, when we are able to gather, it's going to be a great day, but connections are still happening, even though we're not, always together in person. So before I wrap up our time with you, I'd love just if you have any advice that you could share, for anyone watching or who might see this, who one day hopes to make, an impact on their community. What would you tell your 20-year-old self, or someone who was, early on in their career about things that you would recommend, in order for them to live a full and meaningful life?
Number one, to keep God, family, and work in the right order, in that order. And then in your organization, surround yourself with the best people that you can find. That's really been if there is a secret of what little bit of success that I've had, it's because of the people that I've been fortunate to get to work with me. And make sure they're not all just alike. That's a big thing. Then you take those same principles and you apply it to your clients. If you have a genuine, sincere interest in their success, they know it. And what a small business person needs from their bank is they need a relationship. They need to know you. You need to know them. I think that applies to all businesses. And then responsiveness, the ability to come back with a solution or a good answer or whatever it is, but to be quick. And then I'm gonna borrow one from my wife, who always said, learn as much as you can about everything you can for as long as you can. And that's a great one.
George, you got a smart wife, and you have a lifetime of a wealth of knowledge, and we are thankful to have been able to share a small part of that today in honoring you with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you again for joining us. Congratulations on this extremely well-deserved recognition. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you, and we will see you at the Education Foundation board meeting in just a few weeks.
Thank you, April. Thank you.
So before we move into our final recognition, I want to pause for a quick message from our Emerge series sponsor, Cox Business.
It's more than internet and voice solutions. It's how you connect your work to the world. Get 99.9% reliability when you switch to Cox Business today.
Thanks once again to Cox for their support of this series and for helping us find innovative ways to recognize all of our award recipients all month long. So we are closing out our series with undoubtedly our most entertaining award recipient yet, Dr. Bernard Hodges with Critter Fixer Veterinary Hospital. In addition to saving animals, he is a published author of Bet on Yourself and is the co-star along with his lifelong business partner, Dr. Ferguson, on Critter Fixer Country Vets, which can be seen on Nat Geo Wild and Disney+. Critter Fixer has been a staple in our community for the past 20 years, and they do more than just serve their customers. They truly become part of their pets' families. Since opening their office in Bon Air in 1999, they have served thousands of our fur babies in their 7,000 plus square feet state-of-the-art facility. They're the only veterinary clinic in the Bon Air, Warner Robins area offering digital radiography. And at a time when many businesses were focused internally, they continue to look forward toward growth and have expanded their Bon Air office, doubling the capacity for veterinary services through the creation of a surgery center. Dr. Hodges, thank you to you and your incredible team for all that you do for the families in Houston County and our surrounding area. Now, I have a confession to make. I lost a bet. Our incoming board chairman for 2022, David Danzy, was so excited that we were hosting Dr. Hodges that he challenged me to an arm wrestling match to interview Dr. Hodges because he is convinced whoever does this interview is going to become the next Oprah and become famous. And well, I lost the arm wrestling match. So please help me welcome our bonus co-host for today, David Danzy. Mr. Danzy, how are we?
Hey, April, how are you?
I'm great. Do you know how this works?
I think I can take it from here. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Thank you all again for joining us. I'm honored and excited to bring this final interview. Dr. Hodges isn't just an accomplished businessman or TV personality. He is a very close friend, and he loves this place that we call home right here in Middle Georgia. You know, we had a chance to surprise Dr. Hodges with his award just a few weeks ago. Tiffany, would you go to the video, please? Hello, Dr. Hodges.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I want to introduce you and get a chance to just interview you for a little bit here. But first, let me tell everybody, you'll hear me refer to this book, Bet on Yourself, that Dr. Hodges authored. And you can find this book at Gottwald Books, or you can go to Critter Fixers in the office there, and you might get a signed copy by Dr. Hodges, or you can, go to one of your other book outlets. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this interview because I'm really excited. I'm glad to see you. In your book, Bet on Yourself, you talk about Dr. Melinda Davis and how she inspired you. Would you talk a little bit about how she influenced you to pursue fishing biology and eventually veterinary medicine?
So I'm a country boy. I grew up in Fort Valley, Georgia. So I grew up not too far from the Flint River. So I was always down there goofing off at the water, and I always loved fish. I had this vision. One day I was going to be Jacques Cousteau. I was going to so I always loved fish. So, unfortunately, I wasn't the best student. And in the book I talk about my first statement is motivated by shame because I failed the 9th grade. I didn't have a clue that I was smart. I just didn't know. So I was lucky enough to get into Fort Valley because, I got in by the skin of my teeth. I didn't have an idea how to study, how to become a college student, or how to study as a college student. So as I started to get on, I met Dr. Davis, and she changed my life. She taught me how to study, and some days, literally, when I was like, you know what, I ain't gonna go to class, she would knock on my door and say, hey man, get your butt in class. I mean, she literally was a saving grace. And for me, I've always learned by seeing and by touching and by doing. I wasn't always the greatest student when it came to actual grades. So she inspired me by helping me do research projects. I have a project that is still going on today. A lot of people don't know, but I did a project for the Agency for International Development where we developed a cheap protein source, which was carp. So I helped grow carp for these people in Nepal. I mean, think about it. Here's this country boy, 19 years old, traveling to India and Nepal and setting up a fish project that is still feeding people today. So, she was a great inspiration.
Now, I'm going to go to another question, but it's interesting you brought up Nepal because isn't that when they used to call you Mike Tyson?
Yeah. So here I am. I'm this black guy. This is 25 years ago. I'm walking through the streets of Nepal, and this was the heyday of Mike Tyson. So everybody thought I was Mike Tyson. So Nepalese people are relatively small. I mean, they probably 5. I'm only 5'9", so maybe they're about 5'2", 5'3". So they look up at me. They're like, Mike Tyson. I'm like, yeah, I'm Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's good to be famous no matter who you are, right?
No, right, exactly.
So, you did the fishing biology, and then you went into veterinary medicine. Talk about why you pursued veterinary medicine. You kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but go a little further into detail about it.
So I really like fish, and I thought fisheries biology was going to be my thing. I thought that, I'd do research, like I say, be the next Jacques Cousteau, or maybe go to work in SeaWorld. But I like all animals. So you know, it was kind of like I was getting to the end. I had to figure it out. I was like, I think I'm gonna become a veterinarian and make all animals, you know, feel better. I treat fish now, so I get to treat everything from camels to fish to cows. And even if you see this year's show, I'm even gonna treat a spider. So you know, if it's walking, slithering, moving, I can fix it. So you know, I'm glad I made this choice because I'm able to fish and everything else.
That's a great story. And listen, we'll talk a little bit about that TV show in a minute. But first,
right,
I want to talk about your business partner because he kind of stays behind the scenes. You're the front guy in a lot of cases, but you met Dr. Ferguson during your time at the Fort Valley State University, right here in Middle Georgia. That's right.
When you're at the Fort Valley. So I talk to people all the time. It's about, and like the gentleman was saying before me, it's about hooking up with the right people. You know, I mean, Terrence has always let me be me. I mean, we met in college 30 years ago. You know, he was a really smart guy. I was like, let me sit next to this guy. And we became best of friends. We took fisheries biology. I was a fisheries major. He was a vet major. But we took some of the same biology classes. So we became really good friends. And just throughout, not only that friendship, it's just the bond. I can remember being down as roommates, you know, we went down to a conference and his son was being born. And just getting a call and talking to him all the way. I mean, he had to drive from Orlando. So I talked to him all the way up. And I can remember the old Kroger when we only had a loaf of bread and turkey to eat. I mean, we have that for the week. You know, I mean, and those things, we always hung with each other. We always talk about how I was his over educated and underpaid receptionist, and he was my kennel tech because all we had was each other. We didn't have any employees. It was just me and him. I was answering the phone. He was cleaning out poop. I was walking dogs. He was putting together, the computer stuff. So we have become friends. And the biggest thing is he allows me to be me. He stays true to who he is. He's a little bit quieter than I am, but he's a heck of a veterinarian. And so that's all that matters. So, you know, he's okay with me goofing off and having the annex. And he always teases. And like you was talking about Oprah, we did the Oprah thing a couple weeks ago, and I think we did the People magazine. He was like, "I'm the only person with a partner with a mohawk," and so he lets me be me. So I mean, and he's an amazing guy.
What more could you ask of a partner?
What more can you ask?
Exactly. Let's talk about this National Geographic now. You guys have put Houston County and specifically Bon Air on the map with this highly addictive show, Critter Fixers, County Vets. And me and my wife watch it religiously. We even watch the reruns because we miss stuff. But how did all of this come about, getting this national TV show? Tell me about it.
So, you know, with social media, you can be anything, you can be anybody, you can be anywhere. So I got a call. I think it was maybe May of 19. I got a call. Well, I got a DM on Instagram. So this gentleman knows, he DMs me. He says, "Hey Doc, you ever thought about doing a TV show?" And I did what anybody else would do. I ignored it. I was like, "Man, it's spam, right? You know, whatever." So he reached out a couple more times. Finally, I answered. I said, "Okay," called the office. So we talked. Then we talked a couple more times, and finally he was like, "Do you Skype?" I was like, "Man, I'm from the country. No, everybody here, I know them. I don't have to Skype them." But I got my son. We set up Skype, so we Skype. And then it was time to tell Terrence. So I called him. I said, "Hey, bro, hey, man, we might be on TV doing." And he was like, "Yeah, right, Hodges. I know you all." I said, "Seriously, man." I was like, "You need to be at the office. We're going to Skype with these guys." So we did a Skype. They came out a couple months later. They did what they call a pilot shoot where they pilot did a pilot for a week, sent it off to Nat Geo, and Nat Geo called and said, "Hey, you guys got an agent? We want you on TV." And I was like, "No, I don't have an agent, but if you're going to pay me, I'll figure this out." And that's kind of how Critter Fixer, we thought, okay, we'll do a season. And then here we are, May 22nd, we'll have a second season going. And it's been a pretty cool thing and a good run.
Nice. Thank you for getting that shameless plug in. I was going to tell everybody, but you got it in. So you listen, we're looking forward to it. And it's an honor to get that second season pickup. So
it is.
What a good job. I want to talk about some things that are really important to you.
Yes.
One of the chamber's core functions is around leadership development. And I know that creating a workforce pipeline is important to you. Tell us a little bit about your internship programs and how you're mentoring students from all over the world right here in Bon Air. And before you talk about it, let me also plug the fact that I believe you guys have assisted 63 to 65 individuals to become veterinarians. So talk about that.
Veterinarians. We have. We call it the Critter Fixer family tree. So, I mean, the fortunate thing is Fort Valley is right down the road. So you have kids who are trying to become veterinarians or vet techs. And we probably have hundreds of veterinary technicians. And in that last count, we have 63 kids who've come through Critter Fixer and becomes veterinarians. And by that, I mean, we've written their letters. We have helped them in school. I get calls from California or LA, or a lot of them went to Las Vegas all the time, or North Carolina. Call them, hey doc, what about this? Hey doc, and it's not just medicine, because I mean, it's a stressful job. It's also, this animal can't tell you what to do, so you definitely have to learn to create and do well in medicine. But veterinary medicine is a different thing because it encompasses the family. This is a family member. So you got to, I don't want to treat just the pet. I treat the people. So, you got to learn how to talk to people, how to interact. I remember grandkids. Unfortunately, even during this COVID time that I know of, I can think of, unfortunately, I've lost about 7 clients. And they call me. I have had clients who I've treated their pet. They call me in tears saying, well, such and such. That lets me know I'm part of the family. I have been pallbearers at people's funeral. I mean, sometimes I may be the only black guy there, and I'm carrying this guy, but the family's like, okay, he's part of our family. But you this community is everything. I mean, because like I say, I can remember a time when Terrence and I, it was just us. We didn't know if we could keep the lights on, but so many people stepped up to the plate to not only bring pets, but to help us and show us different things. Even adding on and building a service center, I had no clue how to build things, how to do different things, but a simple phone call to Mr. Monkey who helps everything, or call the mayor, or call people who do this, and they always willing to jump in and help. I got friends at the sanitation department. They may not who help. I mean, sewer. I need all this stuff. So yeah. It is nurturing of the community, because there's so much that goes into it. And so, I mean, I've had some success and I've helped kids, but the one main thing I want people to say before the success is Hodges is a nice guy, and Hodges loves his community. And with the community, it is my job to mentor these kids. I never say no. And my office managers and everybody look at me crazy. They're like, it's COVID, you can't. I said, look, everybody put on a mask. Let's show these kids what I do. Because I mean, if not me, then who? That's just my thought.
That's a great thought. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons why you're Business of the Year, because of the mindset that you have and that Terrence has in helping not only yourselves, but helping the community and helping those individuals who may be less fortunate to try and get a foot up. So thank you for everything you're doing. In thinking about this, you've got the Thriving Practice, you've got the national TV spot, you've got the book here, you've got all these things going on. What's next for America's Favorite Vet?
So to kind of backtrack a little bit. So I wrote the book in 19. I mean, the veterinary hospital is doing well. I mean, it's thriving. We've got new vets. We even have a young lady who came over here from Germany who's a vet here now. And I wrote the book, and if the last line I wrote, or the last chapter I thought about, the next phase. And my plan was to travel and backpack through Europe. I've never been to Europe. I was like, I finally got the time. I can financially go. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all in a month. Then maybe I'll semi-retire or something. But it's amazing how God works, because then I get the phone call out of the blue from National Geographic. So that let me know that I have a bigger platform to help more people. So I get calls. I mean, every morning I wake up to an email or something from somebody around the country, or either maybe somebody from Sweden or somebody from Canada or different places. So the platform has opened my horizon, opened my mind. So I just don't know. I mean, the TV show is fun, and I don't want to do that forever. maybe a few more seasons. I mean, we'll sign for a few more seasons, so we'll see. But I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I did a Zoom last night, and it was through this place called Cares, and they are starting a nonprofit to help kids and kind of introduce them to vet med. I'm thinking maybe more. I do a lot of Zooms. I do a lot with kids, but I'm thinking maybe gearing my foundation, which right now I do it just toward business. Maybe I'm missing the forest for the trees. Maybe, and in diversity, there's only 2% of veterinarians are African American. And maybe I'm kind of missing a little bit, but I can maybe start a little bit earlier and teach kids that, you got to have the sciences, you got to have the math. And veterinary medicine is a viable option as a career. Because if I tell people, and people often ask, why do I think, maybe there are not quite a few, not many more than 2% African Americans in vet med. And I think it just really becomes to seeing them. Because think about it. All of us know kids who want to be professional football players. All of us know kids who want to be professional basketball players. But do we know any that want to be professional hockey players? Probably not, because that's not what you see.
Yeah.
Ain't no hockey rings around here, so you don't see that. So I'm thinking maybe my next step will be trying to start a little bit early and maybe gear my nonprofit, maybe switch it from business and maybe go down to teach younger kids and show them that veterinary medicine can be where it is.
Wow. Well, I have no doubt that no matter what you do, it's going to be great because you've set the pattern for that already. Listen, I know we're running out of time, and there's so many things I could ask you. There's a couple of things I want you to talk about quickly. The last question I'll say, but talk just briefly about Camp Bow Wow.
Camp Bow Wow. It's that's another thing. It's I've been doing this 20 years, and I offer boarding here. I offer surgery here. I offer all kinds of things. But to be honest, I think my boarding is average. I think you'll get great surgery here. I think you'll get great. But I don't have time to specifically show your pet the TV, walk them around, let them do daycare. I just don't have the time in this facility. But I'm often asked, because it's a military town, people come in and they oftentimes like, man, what can I have my pet just be able to go and just play all day and just be able to have a modern facility. So I was like, you know what? I think maybe we need that here. So I decided, we went over to Lake Joy, bought 3 acres, and we're going to build a state-of-the-art 8,000 square foot pet boarding facility that pets can run around, they can play, and mom and dad can sit at their desk or at home, and they can look at their pet play all day. You can sit right at your desk, click a few buttons, and you can see your baby play and interact with all kinds of pets all day. We'll tire them out. We'll feed them good. We'll give them snacks, and then you can pick them up at the end of the day. We also have overnight board, but if you just want to have them come and play and do daycare, you pick them up, we'll tire them out, and we'll have them ready to go for the next day.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you for talking about that, because that's such a great idea for our area, and people are really looking for it. I know we do with our dog, and so
right.
We plan on being frequent visitors to that new location. Okay.
Right.
Last thing before we go, in your book, you dedicate it to your son, Bernard Hodges II.
Yes.
Just talk about, because, when you have a son, you really don't want to push him in a certain direction, but it looks like he's really following in your footsteps. But talk about what he means to you.
So you can see my face light up when I talk about him. I mean, by far, just an amazing young man. To watch him, I have never to this day said, hey man, I want you to be a veterinarian or pushed it. I guess, I always just tried to set the example. And I guess watching me, one day he told me he wants to be a veterinarian. And Terrence and I always kid each other because he's more like Terrence. He's kind of quiet, super smart. I was so happy to get his ACT scores the other day. He almost made a perfect score. He scored in the top 1%. So, to see the recruiting now, the colleges are reaching out, and he is his own guy. He wants to be a veterinarian, but he always is thinking of ways, and he, it's just to watch his growth. The first time when we did that, the episode where he was going to palpate the cow, and I was having this talk with him. None of that was staged. None of the questions I was asked, I was astonished at what he knew. because he took the time to one study. You know, he's an FFA. So he knows these different things. I'm like, dude, how do you know this stuff? He's like, well, Dad, I read, I do. So he's gonna be a much better veterinarian than me. So I am super excited to watch his growth. You know, I mean, he just is an amazing kid, and you know, it's gonna be fun this season because he'll actually appear on 4 episodes, and you know, I mean, and to kind of give a spoiler alert, you know, we go out and save another calf, and he doesn't know it. I initially go out during, I think it's Hurricane, I can't remember, Hurricane Sally, when Sally came through and dumped all that rain. I had to go out in the middle of this hurricane to save this cow. And we brought the calf back to the clinic. And the guy said, well, you just named the calf. And so, of course, I named it Bernard. So he finds out during the scene and while we shoot it at, you know, and the spoiler alert, but the calf, he's Bernard number 3. So VJ finds out Bernard, hey, Bernard. But it's really cool. But it's great. It's great to see his growth. But, you know, I mean, I expect big things from that young man.
Excellent. Well, listen, you heard it here, folks. You got your first spoiler alert for the new season of Critter Fixer.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Listen, Dr. Hodges, it's always a pleasure. I could talk to you for hours. And if you, again, I want to reiterate, if you guys get a chance to read the book, it talks about, you know, really how veterinarians started in the Black community. It talks all about the other things that Dr. Hodges is working on, including real estate investment. So if you get a chance, pick that book up and continue to support Dr. Hodges and Critter Fixers, the greatest thing we have here from a veterinary perspective in Middle Georgia. Dr. Hodges, thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me. And thanks. Listen, when y'all appear and tears came to my eyes, you know, I mean, it's just because I'm thankful and I'm humble. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, I am so humbled by being recognized, because I don't do it for that, but it's just humbling to be recognized by your family. And you guys are family, Middle Georgia, a family that, you know, I'm very thankful.
Well, we're thankful for you.
Thank you, Dr. Hodges, and congratulations again on the well-deserved award. Tiffany, I don't know if David's head and mine will both fit in the screen, but David, I mean, good job. It was nice knowing you, bud. If you need, you know, an agent or, you know, a publicist, hook me up, okay?
Listen, the sky's the limit now. I'm on to bigger and better things. Y'all will see me on TV nationally in the next few days.
Well, I can always say I knew you would. So thank you again for co-hosting with me. And guys, that's going to wrap up our program for today. We hope to see you at our next event. And here are a couple of exciting things we have on deck. So over the last week, we have activated 70 plus enthusiastic volunteers to help to connect the resources and reach of the Chamber to the business community through our annual sponsorship campaign called SOAR. If you have traditionally sponsored a program with the Chamber or want to learn more about partnership with the Chamber, now is the time. Once this campaign is over, we will not be offering sponsorship opportunities again until next year. So if you normally tell us 3 or 4 weeks before the golf tournament that you want to do an interactive hole, you're going to miss your chance this week. So make sure when you get that phone call from a volunteer that you're taking the call, that you're signing up for all the offerings that we have in store. We've got tons of new things that engage our online platforms, as well as some of the in-person events that we can't wait to get back engaged with. So if you want to learn more about SOAR and how you can connect, give us a call at the Chamber to the number on the bottom of your screen, or zip us a message right here on Facebook, and we will make sure to get a volunteer in touch with you. Now, we know that many of you are already very familiar with Robins to Go, but I want to make sure that everyone knows how to use it and why this engagement opportunity is so important to your Chamber. So through this online platform, our aim is to connect people and local businesses, highlight charitable needs in our community, and promote events and activities taking place in the surrounding areas. Our group is as strong as the content that's shared, and the content is moderated in order to minimize duplicated inquiries and to monitor patterns and trends that may indicate areas of needs in the community so that we can work on creative solutions to those problems. This community forum cuts through the clutter, providing a safe space where all of us can connect that will enhance our community and our lives as we live, work, and play here. Whether it's a recommendation for an in-home service, discovering a restaurant you've never visited before, or highlighting a local event, Robbins To Go is your go-to source for the 411 and the 478. Just put Robbins To Go in the search bar on Facebook, answer a few simple questions, and let the connections begin. And finally, I want to remind everyone about a new offering for 2021 we have created that is our Robbins Leads Book Club. Anyone who wants to join is welcome. We will meet on Zoom 3 times in the spring and 3 sessions in the fall. And these sessions will be moderated by our board chairman and book lover, Shane Gottwalls, and a special co-host each month. Our first book club session will be held on Wednesday, March the 11th at 11 a.m. And we will be discussing The Hero Effect by Kevin Brown. So I was introduced to this book by my friend and chamber cheerleader, Kent Kilco, a few weeks ago and literally could not put it down. It's a super quick read. I think it took me maybe an hour and a half to read. But the leadership lessons in this book are powerful reminders for people in every walk of life that particularly now, this world needs you to be your best. The Hero Effect will help us learn to be exceptional for the benefit of others and ourselves. So swing by Gottwalls Books and pick up a copy of the book and make plans now to join Shane and Kent as they lead the discussion discovering this motivational book. Registration is quick and easy. Just visit robbinsregion.com and click on the event tab, scroll down to this event, and you're all set. Guys, thank you again for joining us for Emerge 2021. Congratulations to all of our 2020 award winners. We simply could not have done this in this platform without our sponsors and without your continued support of all the great work coming out of your chamber for you guys in our community. That's going to wrap us up for today. We'll see you next time.
I'm feeling like I could go on forever. Good time, don't you blame me. It's feeling I've got making me crazy, making me crazy. So I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive.